Okay, so let's talk about data worksheets in Nitro-CELL. Basically, a data worksheet is something that allows you to just send data to specific models within your Creo session. So for example, if you want to send parameters that are evaluated by a relationship or parameters that just need to have their value changed or dimensions that need their value changed or even a note that you want to set or create or change its value, you can do that from a data sheet. The way you create a data sheet is you just come here to Nitro-CELL and you press the data sheet button. It's going to ask you, how do you want the data sheet to be executed by Nitro-CELL? If we say by the Nitro-CELL main, it means that this Nitro-CELL main sequencing sheet, which controls the overall execution of your automation, will be the place that it is executed from. If you want to run it as a child sheet of an execution worksheet, there's a send results function that we provide that allows you to selectively send data to your Creo models from Nitro-CELL. So I'm going to select the main sheet here, and we're going to say send data is going to be the name of our worksheet. So this particular worksheet has automatically been added to our execution stack within the Nitro-CELL main sheet, and it has copied the template over for us so that we can complete the information that it requires. The only columns you really need to be careful about are the exclude column and then these three required columns. The exclude column basically says if I put any text within here, it doesn't really matter what I put in. So long as there's a value here, it will exclude the information that's in that row and prevent it from being sent over to Creo. You can also put in a formula here. So if I want to selectively exclude information based on the data within this sheet or within data in other worksheets within this workbook, you can write a formula right here to make the determination. And so long as a data value results and fills in with an X or any other type of data that you want, it will exclude that row from being processed. So if I want to send some information over to Creo, we can do that by calling out specific models we want to modify. For example, if I want to come in and say modify the magnet, and I've got this column set up over here to show a particular value that's already being within that model called username. So if I come back here and by default within the data worksheet, it's going to assume that you're modifying parameters. So if I put in username and then the value, let's call it AHA. If I send this over by pressing the do it button right now, it will send that across. You'll notice that it completed the automation, and as soon as I regenerate the display here, you'll notice that it has updated that parameter value to be AHA. Another cool thing you could do is if you wanted to come in and modify all of the parts that are currently within this session, we can put in a star.prt, and that will go modify and update all of the PRT files that are currently within Creo session. It doesn't have to do with this specific assembly. It means anything that's in session. So when I press the do it button here, it's going to go and update all of those. And as soon as I refresh my display, you'll notice that they're all updated with that particular value. So I didn't need to go in and specify every single part that I wanted to modify. I went in and hit them all with that simple update. So that's one way to do things. Another neat thing we can do here is let's exclude this particular instruction that we're going to be sending from the data sheet, and let's come back in and modify something else. So let's go take a look at this magnet part here. So if I modify the magnet's feature, you'll notice that there is a dimension here. So if I come in and switch that dimension to thickness, I can see that that is the symbolic name of that particular parameter. Now, just a word of caution. We do not recommend or advise you to do this as like a common thing within automation. But if you're dealing with a model that already has this set up and you want to use the symbolic dimension as the name that you want to modify within your automations, you can do that using a data worksheet. The way it works is we're going to specify the name of the model we're going to be modifying, which is magnet.prt. And to specify that we're going to be modifying a dimension instead of a parameter, we're going to prefix this with dim colon. Then we're going to give it the symbolic name. Now this is case sensitive and it must be typed in exactly the same. So we're going to type in thickness and we're going to give it a new value. So I don't need to worry about the component ID or the feature ID. I just need to be very specific about the model that I'm modifying and the symbolic name that we're going to be modifying. When I press the Do It button, you'll notice that it, in fact, makes that change for me. And as soon as I regenerate my model, I'll have it completely there. Let's change that dimension back so we can kind of see what it looks like. And you can see that it has been modified to 20, which is what we specified within our worksheet. If I wanted to, let's say, add a note to a particular model, we can prefix it with note and call it let's say test 1. And we'll say this is a note from Excel. And when I press the Do It button, you'll notice that it has been sent. And if I open up that particular model for the magnet, let's open that up by coming to the end session, open up the magnet, and we have to activate our tree filters to show our annotations if we don't have that here already. And you notice that that test 1 node has been created. And if I look at its properties, you'll see that it is a test node from Excel. So very, very capable